After taking a moment to compose himself, Han Li carefully released his spiritual sense, spreading it in all directions to observe the current state of the battlefield. After the golden-haired man and all of the heavenly court's high zenith cultivators were struck down by the silver figure, all of the remaining heavenly court cultivators immediately began fleeing in all directions in a blind panic, while the devilish army set off in hot pursuit, led by their high zenith cultivators. Instead of directly participating in the battle, Li Mozi released his lightning attribute spirit domain to encompass an enormous area, and all of the devilish cultivators within it had lightning garments draped over their bodies, significantly enhancing their speed. In contrast, all of the heavenly court cultivators were slowed down by the disruptive lightning in their way. In the span of no more than 15 minutes, the heavenly court army had already completely collapsed. However, instead of slaughtering all of the heavenly court cultivators, the devilish army took most of them as prisoners, sealing away their cultivation bases, then confiscated their storage treasures, before throwing them into a fleet of giant flying ships to be sent away. The remaining few giant golden ships from the heavenly court were also claimed by the devilish army, while others began to clean up the battlefield down below. Han Li was encompassed within Li Mozi's spirit domain, so he didn't dare to move at all, and he continued to lay on the ground in a completely still fashion, allowing himself to be carried away by devilish cultivators into a giant ship that was filled with bodies. Seeing as he wasn't going to be able to leave this place, Han Li decided to take this time to examine the memories of the body that he had possessed. And an enormous wave of memories instantly flooded into his mind. This body contained far more memories than the ones from his previous few stints of spiritual transmigration, and even though he had already grown accustomed to this process, he was still struck by a sense of tearing agony. He gritted his teeth to fight back the pain, and only after a long while did the agony recede. At this point, countless memory fragments had already appeared in his mind, and he immediately began to search carefully through them. He had many questions on his mind pertaining to what he had just witnessed, and he was hoping to be able to find some answers in these memories. As it turned out, the body that he possessed belonged to a late high zenith stage devilish cultivator by the name of Yu Ao, and currently he was in a place known as the Devil Realm. Even back before he ascended to the true immortal realm, he had made a journey through to Devil Realm. He had found it rather strange that he had encountered extremely few cultivators using devilish cultivation arts ever since his ascension to the true immortal realm, but Yu Ao's memories explained to him why this was the case. Those who used devilish cultivation arts would always appear in the Devil Realm through normal ascension, and Yu Ao was precisely one of the cultivators who had ascended to the Devil Realm from a lower realm. According to his knowledge, the Devil Realm was also situated somewhere in the true immortal realm, neighboring several of its immortal regions, but it had always been an independent, standalone region. Han Li tried to search through the memories for some information pertaining to the owner of the giant silver hand, but was unable to find anything. Perhaps because the memories were missing, or perhaps simply because Yu Ao didn't have such knowledge to begin with. As for why this battle had taken place, Han Li had already gathered a rough idea from the conversation between Li Mozi and the golden-haired man. It seemed that the Heavenly Court wanted to recruit the Devil Realm as an ally to contend against the Reincarnation Palace. But the Devil race wished to remain neutral and take no part in this conflict. This revelation forced Han Li to see the Reincarnation Palace through new eyes. He had originally thought that the Reincarnation Palace was just an underground organization that wasn't all that powerful. But it seemed that the Reincarnation Palace posed far more of a threat to the Heavenly Court than he first imagined. Given what he currently knew, not only did the Reincarnation Palace have certain core members in the form of reincarnation disciples, it also had many branch organizations like the Transient Guild and the Ubiquitous Pavilion. On the surface, these organizations appeared similar to trading houses, but in reality, they were trying to lure in members for the Reincarnation Palace. With that in mind, Hanli couldn't help but wonder who was controlling the reincarnation palace behind the scenes, and what their objectives were. Hanli shook his head to rid himself of that train of thought, then continued to examine Yuao's memories. All of a sudden, he made an interesting discovery, which was that Yuao was a cultivator under the Vast Origin House, and he had been sent here by none other than the Vast Origin House. Unfortunately, he was met with a sneak attack from two Heavenly Court High Zenith cultivators as soon as the battle began, thereby leading to his demise. Isn't the Vast Origin House the organization overseen by Lan Ying? Is this just a coincidence? Or could it be that the Vast Origin House in that lower realm is a branch of the Devil Realm's Vast Origin House? 1. According to Yuao's memories, not only was the Vast Origin House the #1 trading house in the entire Devil Realm, and it had many contacts in other immortal regions. It was an extremely powerful organization, so it would be no surprise for it to have developed some branches in lower realms. The thought of Violet Spirit immediately sprang into Hanli's mind in association with the Vast Origin House. Wiki? She was closely connected to the Vast Origin House in that lower realm, and Hanli couldn't help but wonder if she had also managed to ascend. However, given that she was using devilish cultivation arts, if she were to ascend, she would most likely end up in the Devil Realm. On top of that, it was also unclear what had become of Nangongwan in the Spirit Realm. Unfortunately, he was currently in no position to go and search for them. With that in mind, he heaved an internal sigh before refocusing his attention on the task at hand. At this moment, most of the Time Dao runes on the mantra Treasured Axis projection, hovering before him, had already faded. Watching the battle between the Devil Race and the Heavenly Court had taken a lot of time. It seemed that Yuao had only perished recently, so there was a vast volume of memories left in his mind, and it was going to take a very long time to examine all of them. Hence, there was no time to waste, and Hanli continued to search through the memories for any information that would be useful to him. His top priority at the moment was to expel the baleful qi in his body and reach the high zenith stage, so he turned his focus to the memories related to Yuao's high zenith stage breakthrough. Much to his elation, those memories had been preserved quite well, and he hurriedly began to examine them. But it didn't take long before his elation began to fade. As it turned out, just like normal cultivators, devilish cultivators also had to expel the baleful qi in their bodies in order to make a breakthrough to the high zenith stage. The method of baleful qi expulsion that had been chosen by Yuao was quite an interesting one. Instead of taking any pills to expel the baleful qi in his body, he tracked down a devilish beast found in the Devil Realm known as the Dream Tapir to devour all of his baleful qi. The Dream Tapir was a very special devilish beast that was capable of devouring all things, including even dreams and memories. These beasts were extremely rare, even in the Devil Realm, and whenever one was tracked down, it would immediately be captured by certain powerful figures to become their spirit pets. After all, its ability to devour baleful qi was extremely useful, and even great encompassment cultivators held dream tapirs in very high regard, as they were ideal for nurturing up-and-coming juniors. Yuao was only able to secure an opportunity to use a dream tapir through the Vast Origin House, and in exchange, he had to pledge lifelong servitude to the Vast Origin House. Hanli heaved an internal sigh upon seeing this. At the moment, he was situated in the Black Mountain Immortal region. So, this method of baleful qi expulsion was entirely unavailable to him. He was feeling a little disappointed, but he continued to search through Yuao's memories in the hopes of making further discoveries. As a late high zenith cultivator, Yuao's memories contained many precious nuggets of useful information. And Hanli soon found himself completely absorbed in examining all of Yuao's cultivation insights and experiences, particularly pertaining to devilish cultivation arts and secret techniques. A short while later, an elated look appeared on Hanli's face, as he discovered a secret technique called the Infernal Devilish Eyes in Yuao's memories. As the name suggested, this was a spirit eye ability that granted one exceptional ocular powers. However, the prerequisites for cultivating this secret technique were also extremely stringent, And even in the entire devil realm, not many cultivators had been able to master this ocular ability. Even though Yu Ao was in possession of this secret technique, he hadn't attempted to cultivate it. In order to cultivate this secret technique, one had to first possess a certain spirit eye foundation. Otherwise, their eyes would be able to bear the power of the technique and would be destroyed, rather than enhanced. Furthermore, cultivating this secret technique was an extremely lengthy endeavor, and one had to constantly inject their hard-earned devilish qi into their eyes to slowly nourish them. On top of that, a special medicinal fluid was required to complement the cultivation of the infernal devilish eyes, and all of the ingredients required for this medicinal liquid were extremely precious and had to be very advanced in age. Given these three hurdles, it was no wonder that even a late high zenith cultivator like Yu Ao had decided against pursuing it. However, a hint of excitement welled up in Han Li's heart upon seeing this. While these three hurdles were indeed quite difficult to overcome, they were not entirely insurmountable for him. In terms of a spirit eye foundation, he possessed the bright sight spirit eyes, and he could cultivate devilish qi using his provenance true devil arts, which should be enough to support the cultivation of the infernal devilish eyes. Thanks to his time law powers, Han Li no longer had much reliance on his provenance true devil arts, so the devilish qi that it had cultivated would be perfect for nourishing his eyes. As for the supplementary medicinal fluid, with the heaven-controlling vial in his possession, this wasn't a problem either. He had seen the recipe for the medicinal fluid, and while the required ingredients were all indeed quite precious, they were not impossible to find. The main obstacle in that regard was that all of the ingredients had to be of quite an advanced age. Furthermore, in a very fortuitous turn of events, one of the primary ingredients on the recipe was the farsight weed, something that he had obtained a large supply of from the Infernal Frost Immortal Manor and planted in the flower branch space, so all that was left was to mature it. Han Li read through the Infernal Devilish Eyes secret technique a few more times, ensuring that he had it well and truly memorized, and only then did he move on to Yu Ao's other memories. Before long, all of the Time Dao runes on the mantra treasured axis faded, and a burst of tremendous suction force erupted out of the axis to suck Han Li's soul out of Yu Ao's body. 1. For more information on the Vast Origin House, please refer to RMJI Chapter 2124, Vast Origin House. 2. For more information on Violet Spirit, please refer to